Welcome, friends, to another Firepit conversation. Richard here, and I hope everyone's having a great week. And it's great to be back and be able to talk with you again this week on this soaking wet morning. We had a nice little rainstorm last night come through, and it's so you might hear the raindrops coming out of the trees as the birds starting to awaken this morning. So, but it's a beautiful morning. I just finished a nice walk through the neighborhood, and it just feels almost a little nip of fall, just a little bit. Not quite there, but I'll take some cooler weather. And I've put a lot of miles in the saddle this week, and definitely spent some time out in the heat. So it's nice to kind of just be able to enjoy the coolness of the morning. So it's great to be back. And again, I hope everyone's doing well, and it's not a whole lot's changed in the world. Still a lot of chaos going on. Still a lot of confusion and things going on. But I was really processing and thinking about this morning and the last few days. What would I share in this week's message and put out there? And it's amazing the way, at least to me, and I don't know how you feel about this, no matter where you are in your journey and your walk with God, how often God will bring you back to some of the most basic things that He's shown you, even going back to maybe when you first came to faith. And that's something that I've found definitely, especially in the last year, that He's done with me. Of just taking me back, continuing to take me back to that very first question that He asked me the first time I knew I could hear really and feel God speaking to me at Wild at Heart, was asking me if I would follow and trust Him. And it's just this amazing thing. And I remember just, if you see me scratch a little bit, there's some mosquitoes buzzing around too. Anyway, it was just this amazing kind of feeling of uncertainty, of mystery, of frontier, of not knowing what that truly meant, but knowing it was a question that I had to choose to respond to. And I'm thankful that I chose to say yes to that answer, to that question, that I chose to follow, that I've chosen to trust God with where He's taken me in my life and where He's wanting to lead me. And it's led to some amazing things happening over the course of the last 5, almost 6 years now, from just the interactions I've been able to have, the way I've just grown this more deeply rooted faith in Him, just the calling that He's put on my life, and the way He's led me into this, awaken this passion to me to really go after the hearts of other men in particular, and to do things like this, to be able to just share my heart with the world of what He's doing in my life and what He's showing me, and being able to offer some hope and encouragement through that. And so it's wild to think about that, and what all that's meant over the last years, and the way God continues to stir that in me in different ways. And it's been really something over the last year when we hit a very rough place in our life. I found myself out of work. I didn't know where God was leading us next. Whether it was the mission field full time, or whether it was and back into the workforce, or whatever. I didn't know what that meant and what that looked like. And I remember that so distinctly, of how many times God would tell me, and He'd tell my wife Amber, that that we just needed to trust Him. And it's led to this amazing continued just growth, this this deeper union and trust in God that we didn't have, that I think we didn't know yet, that hadn't been really shown to us yet. We knew we wanted to trust Him, but could we do so when things got very difficult, when things were hard, when the uncertainty really hit? Not just what do I want to do for a living, or whatever it may be, when things were a little more stable and certain, because that's where they were, for many years of our lives. And He took us to a place of not just trusting us in where He's leading us missionally, but really trusting in the way He's leading our day-to-day lives and providing what we need when we need it in our day-to-day lives. I mean, that's been a wild experience to really to step further into that and receive that, and know that that's such an important aspect of our faith, and now to really get to live it out has been an amazing thing. And the things it's done for me, the things it's done for my wife, especially for my wife Amber, have been tremendous. So I sit here this week, and I'm sitting in a process, and I was in my journal yesterday just kind of writing out, because I'll be honest with you, friends, I mean, the last couple weeks, I think for me personally, in a lot of ways, have been very challenging in different ways. I now work to provide for my family in a sales position. I've never done any type of sales commission-based work before. And I knew when I took that job, how Frontier was going to be, but at the same time that it was God continuing to lead me into a place where I still continued to trust that He would provide. And I would say in the last couple weeks, I felt this kind of this pressure almost to perform at a level that wasn't happening yet, to still being new into it. And I mean, I've had a really good start in a lot of ways, but hit a period where, and it wasn't just me, but it was several of us that where sales kind of slowed down for a couple weeks. We haven't been able to close the things that we needed that I've been working to close, and so forth, and which is can get challenging. And when your income depends on that happening, it brings a greater sense of the challenge to you. And that's where I found myself kind of frustrated. I found myself kind of just like, not that I want to quit what I'm doing, because I actually kind of do enjoy it. I enjoy the interactions I get to have with people. I enjoy being out on the road, traveling through rural North Georgia and just talking with different business owners, and that's been an amazing thing. I've had some really good conversations, interactions, even had the chance to just hear some stories, the stories of struggles that business owners have been dealing with, small business owners, and even got the chance to just invite God and pray with them through the difficulty that they face this year with everything that's going on in this world. And so what any of that, it was just it was hit a point for the first time since taking this role, where now I didn't know if the next my next paycheck was going to be enough to cover my financial obligations, all the bills that we had. And it was so it got a little stressful, and I let it get a little stressful, way more stressful than it needed to be, in a lot of ways. And but God is so amazing in that, and what He's done, because I would say by and large, the way He's shown up in this has been through my wife, through Amber, and the way He has used her to help really bring me back to this greater sense of trust and being able to allow him to do the work. Because when she sees it on my face, when she sees the stress build up on my face, it worries her. And and Amber used to be a worrier in a lot of different circumstances, and that's just the way she was, especially before coming to faith, and even earlier in her faith. But she has really come to this place of really just not allowing the little things of this world to overwhelm her, to bother her. And she has really gained this deeper trust in God, and that's where God continues to bring her. And when I see that in her, it's just like I see the face of Jesus through that, and the way he's just using her to calm my heart and to tell me, hey, son, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're going to make it through this. You just simply have to trust me. Trust me with a little and trust me with a lot. Trust me in the good, trust me in the bad. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways follow him, and he will make straight your paths. And that's as simplistic as it can get. And of really receiving that and knowing that to be the reality, or knowing that to be the truth of what this life, what a more rooted and deeply connected and union life with God looks like. That trusting him in all those circumstances, it is so essential. And if you go back, if you've seen these past conversations, you've heard me say this, and it's important. And I'm going to continue to go back, because it's amazing the way God keeps bringing me back there. He keeps bringing me back to that moment of helping me to remember that, because I'm human just like the rest of you, right? And life gets tough, life gets hard. We don't know what's going on, but a true life of trust in the Lord really allows for frontier to happen. It allows you to not be wrapped up in outcomes, but knowing that he has our best interest at heart, that knowing his goodness is going to reign and rule in every circumstance, and that's what we can trust in, and that's who we can believe in, and the promises of God are true and are real. So that's what I look to in these everyday moments. And it was just been a wild thing to do, because we've learned in reality, we've learned to trust God with some bigger things. The Anvil Men's Weekend that we have coming up this fall in November. It was one of those things where we didn't know whether we would do it, whether we were even going to hold the weekend, and it was like God this kind of I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. But it was this absolute yes. This is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. And not only doing the weekend, but in all honesty, of inviting more into the weekend, of going to a place that would bring more people in, that would make available the space for more men to be in it. And we'd never done an event like that before, but it was a risk that we knew we had to take, and so we've stepped into it, and we're going to trust God to provide and send the men that He's going to send to the weekend, and we leave that completely up to Him. And so if I can trust God with that, then I can trust God with everything within my personal life, within even the hardest moments, when things do seem almost dire. They're not as dire as they may seem, because He's, especially if I bring Him into the middle of all that. And I'll be honest, there's days when I really used to cultivate the practice of trying to to stop every single day, get time outside. And now I find myself out every day, almost every day, on the road, but going from one appointment to the next, one site to the next. And so I haven't done a very good job of cultivating that space and that margin to just be in God's presence and inviting Him in to help remind me of who I am, where I am, how He sees me, and to trust Him with everything. And that's just allowing the busyness of the work to take over. And so that's something that I'm really conscious of, and trying to really gain back that space and that margin to where I can stop. I can find moments while I'm on the road, even if I'm just pulling off to the side of the road in an emergency lane or whatever it may be, in a pull off, and just and breathing for a few minutes, getting out of the truck and just and maybe sitting outside, pulling out one of the chairs in my truck and just sitting there on the side of the road or wherever it may be. But I think that's an important aspect, and I think because I haven't allowed myself to keep that space through the business of the day, I think it's gotten in the way of helping me remember those important truths of still following, of trusting God, of bringing myself back in union with Him in every aspect of what I'm doing. Because I love the space and margin. You'll hear it on a podcast that we're putting out, that Chris and I recorded this week, of cultivating joy in our lives. And that's one of the things that I love in the morning, is the space to just bring God in to start the day. But the important aspect of bringing Him throughout the day, of inviting Him in throughout the course of the day, is also there. Was that the praying without ceasing, right? And that's what that is. And that's being able to just remember God, and just stop and just say, Jesus, just invite Him in. Just the cry of the heart to invite Him into it. And so that's just, and I think all those things, those little things, those little practices and all that as well. And these are not things I haven't shared before. These, you'll see them in past videos, of remembering that that's an important aspect of helping you stay centered and rooted back into the things that have been most important, even to the things that God has shown you, of reminding you to continue to trust that He will be there, and He will provide, and He will be at the center of everything if you allow Him, if you invite Him. He's waiting for your invitation. Doesn't force His way in. Never forces His way in. He's just waiting for that moment, that invitation to be there with you. And when you invite Him in, you can truly trust that He's going to be there. And that's where I am this week. Trusting Him. It's not a magic formula that says everything's going to be taken care of the way I think it should be. Again, it's that, like the proverb said, like I said earlier, it's leaning not on my own understanding, the way I think it is. It's trusting in the Lord with all my heart. It's loving Him and seeking Him and knowing that His goodness is what's going to happen, and He's going to work things out for the good of those that love Him, and that He is going to that He's going to be there. He's going to provide what I need, just as He provides for all these birds that are singing around me every morning, the squirrels and the chipmunks and rabbits that come running through my yard. He provides everything they need every single day. And just like Jesus says, how much more will He provide His children, His sons and daughters? So that's that. So I know that we can believe in that to be the truth and the reality, and so that's where I am this week, of remembering that, of taking myself back there. And I just really wanted to share that out with all of you, and make sure that you remembered that that's an important aspect, that God has your good, your best interest in mind, that you are His favorite, that I am His favorite, and that He is that He's going to be right there with us through it all, even when things get harder, because they will get harder. There will be dark times ahead. There will be more difficulties ahead, but we can still trust in the goodness and the trueness of who God is through all that. So I'm getting all of my week, and I pray that you all have a wonderful week and weekend, and I'll see you next time. Take care, friends, and God bless.